Every once in a while, someone will leave a comment or send a private message that goes a bit like this. Hey Brody, I finally became sub 20 on 3x3, but now I don't know what to do to get faster. Can you help? Oh yes, I can help. In this video, I'm going to go over how to improve far beyond sub 20. First of all, there's one very generic piece of advice that most people would give in this situation, and not only is this advice not helpful, it could even make improving harder. This horrible piece of advice, if you haven't figured it out already, is to slow down and look ahead. In reality, look ahead isn't even really necessary until you reach 16 or 17 seconds. Some of you are probably wondering, then what should we be working on? Instead of just telling you right away, I'll give an example. Right now, there are two solves on the screen. Me, myself, and pi on the left, and me on the right. I know me, myself, and pi isn't anywhere near sub 20 on this particular solve, but his solve does a really good job of demonstrating my point. While you're watching these solves, ask yourself this. Besides the obvious things, like pauses, cube rotations, and the fact that me, myself, and pi solves the cross on top, what the f— Anyway, besides those things, what are the differences between these two solves? I'll give you a little time to think about it. There are three main differences that really show what separates a fast solver from a slow one. Let's go over each. The first, and by far the most important difference, is F2L efficiency. This is really what you should be focusing on in order to improve, and it's also the reason that you shouldn't worry about look ahead yet. If you learn to look ahead while you still have inefficient F2L, then you will have to rely on having a lot of time to spot your next pair because of how long and slow your F2L solutions are. Having efficient F2L first is much better in the long run. Here are a few examples of efficient solutions for difficult cases. This case is one that I see people do wrong all the time. So what I see a lot of people doing is disconnecting it like that, and then you have this case where you can connect them and insert. But there is a much better way to do it. From the same position, you can do RU to R prime, and then you already have it set up for an RU R prime insert. Another really easy case that people get wrong all the time is a case like this, where they're connected wrong with the same color on top. What a lot of people do, and it drives me absolutely crazy, is they disconnect them and then they connect them like that and insert. It's much better if you do something like this, where you move it over and then you do R prime U R, which again sets up to an RU R prime insert really easily. That's so much better, and I don't know why so many people get it wrong. You probably already know the much easier solution for a case like this, but just in case you don't, if you do something like this, where you take out the edge and then connect it and insert it, you're doing it wrong. The much easier way to do this kind of case is just do triple sexy. Again, it's so much easier, and nobody should be doing it the wrong way. This is another case that people get wrong all the time, and this one especially makes no sense to me because there's a really easy, efficient solution that's probably even simpler than the inefficient one. But what I see people doing is moving the edge over and then doing RU to R prime, which sets up this insert. But the much easier thing to do is just do double sexy from right here. And it solves it. It's so much easier. But this is probably the most infuriating case to see people getting wrong, because they get it wrong in a way that is so counterintuitive and has a rotation in it, or even two, where they have this case with the corner and edge, and they rotate to match up these two, rotate back, and then insert the pair, which is really inefficient, when they could just be doing double inverse sexy. It's really easy, just R, U prime, R prime to connect the pair, then U, R, U prime, R prime, and you're done. It's so much easier. The second major difference is the finger tricks that I used. In this solve, me, myself, and Pi only used the basic finger tricks, like U and U prime with his index finger, and D2 with his ring finger. That's not good enough once you're sub 20. There are some very easy finger tricks that you should learn to make your F2L much faster and get rid of a lot of regrips. Here are a few examples. You probably already know how to do the double flick for U2, but if you don't, you should learn. You just need to do the first U move with your index finger and then the next one with your middle finger on the same hand. You should be able to do this with both hands. It's extremely helpful to use your double flicks in F2L and in OLL and PLL algorithms. Another really good finger trick to learn is this push with your index finger, because it gets rid of a bunch of regrips in F2L. For example, for this case, which is just R, U prime, R prime, U, and then insert, the way that most beginners execute it is just like I did there. Regrip. And you can get rid of that regrip by just doing R, U prime, R prime, U, and then R, U with that push, R prime. You can also use that same push to get rid of the regrip for this case. What most beginners do is this R, U, R prime, regrip, U, and insert the pair. But the much more efficient thing to do is R, then U by pushing, R prime, U, R, U prime, R prime. There's also a finger trick that, as far as I know, I made up, where after an R move, you can use your thumb to just pull and do U. And that's really useful for cases like soon, but it's also helpful for F2L cases like this, where instead of doing the push for that first U move, you can do something like that. I prefer that, but it's really subjective. You should also be able to do F prime with your right thumb or with your left index finger. These aren't as helpful for F2L, but they're really useful for last layer. Speaking of last layer, the last difference is that me, myself, and Pi used 2-look OLL, and I used full OLL. You don't need to learn full OLL yet, but once you reach sub 20, it's a good idea to start learning a few OLL cases, especially the easy ones. If you want to learn some OLLs, click the card in the top right. That will take you to a really helpful playlist for learning OLLs. Also, if you don't know full PLL yet, that should be your first priority. 2-look PLL wastes several seconds, and once you're sub 20, every second counts. So in conclusion, in order to improve beyond sub 20, you should make your F2L more efficient, improve your finger tricks, and start learning some OLLs. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to click that subscribe button and click the bell icon so you'll be notified when I make more videos like this. If you really want to help me out, you can bookmark the SpeedCubeShop link in the description. Ordering from that link gives me commission, which helps me make more awesome content like this. In the meantime, I'll see you guys later. I hope you have a fantastic day.